Thank you all for coming. This is our first auto show, and Elio welcomes you as much as you've welcomed us. Without further ado, I have Paul Elio, the founder and chairman of Elio Motors, to come and talk to you today. Thank you.
Thanks. So, as Jerome mentioned, this is our first auto show. We took it to the Consumer Electronics Show this year, and CNET named it as one of the 10 most talked about items at the electronics show. And then they had a vote of the 10 most talked about items, which one would you most like to take home? We walked away with 79% of the vote. Second place was 6%. And so we had so much fun in the electronics show, we thought maybe we ought to try an auto show, right? So no, it's really good to be here, and I just want to let you know about what we're doing and why we're doing it. So Elio Motors was founded to make a difference in some very important things, right? Whether your biggest concern is our trade deficit due to foreign oil or our carbon footprint, the answer is the same: use less oil. And Elio can do that in spades. At our nominal business case volumes, after 5 years of sales, we can reduce total U.S. gas consumption by nearly 0.5%. I absolutely believe we need to make things in this country and eventually make and export things from this country. This is going to be built in Shreveport, Louisiana, with 90% North American content. So it's truly an American project. We can make the best stuff in this world for the cheapest, and I got the data to back that up. And we'll create tens of thousands of American jobs along the way. And the other thing that's not immediately obvious is if you're struggling in this country, mobility is your biggest issue. And this really moves the needle on that. There's a study out there that says something like 60% of those unemployed have turned down a job because they had no way to get there. With an Elio, you can get to the job. It matters. The value proposition is incredibly strong. It's 84 miles per gallon. Safe, as you can see from the videos up there. Those are the standard automotive tests that we're designing to. Built in Shreveport, like I said, and sticker pricing for $6,800. Either one of those stats by themselves is impressive, $6,800 or 84 miles per gallon, but the and is what makes it special. So we can run a program called Let Your Gas Savings Make Your Payments. Now, you don't have to buy it this way, but it works this way whether you buy it this way or not. The gas savings are more substantial than your payment. So the way that program works is you walk into our showroom, sign your name, we give you a brand new vehicle and a credit card with a $300 limit on it and let you walk back out the door. The deal is you have to charge all your fuel with that credit card. Every time you buy gas, we charge you triple. So if you buy $10 worth of gas, it shows up as a $30 charge on your credit card statement. And that $20 extra goes to paying down your loan. It's your car payment, right? As long as you drove in the dealership in something that gets 27 miles to the gallon or less, the car payment's made, right? 3 times 27 is 81, and we get 84. So from the consumer's perspective, they have a brand new vehicle under warranty, fun to drive. They don't have a car payment, and they're guaranteed to spend less on gas next month on their Elio at triple the amount than they did on their other vehicle last month. We can literally give cars away. So this is a disruptive product that doesn't disrupt the industry. As odd as that sounds. All these products that we're surrounded with will continue to sell. America has a love affair with big vehicles for a reason, right? You cannot haul plywood in a Yaris. You cannot tow a big boat with a Versa, right? There are a reason why all these big vehicles exist. It's our lifestyle. There's things we want to do. There's reasons how we use these vehicles. And the problem small cars have had up to this point is they were too expensive with too low mileage, so they were an or purchase for most Americans. You could buy an F-150 or a Prius, but you can't buy both, right? And as an or purchase, you can't haul plywood in the Prius, so you buy the F-150. This is an and purchase for most folks, right? Because the gas savings can make the payments for you, you can own an Elio and your bigger vehicle. So you buy your bigger vehicle for the reasons you bought it, and when you're driving 40 miles to work back and forth all by yourself, you take the Elio, right? So it's a disruptive product that doesn't disrupt the industry. I think the best analogy is the Sony Walkman, right? It was a radio, but it was personalized music is what it really was. And it didn't change the home stereo market or the car stereo market, right? Those guys still sold what they sold because we haven't had a need for home stereos. But it changed how we behaved, right? Personalized music, which falls through the day in the MP3 player. This is personalized transportation. So it's a whole new product, if you will. Our business model is unique from top to bottom. So, but we insist on no new technology, right? The problem when you really push the envelope is then you don't know if you can do it or not. Every part on this vehicle is coming to us from one of the biggest suppliers in the world who's already making that product, and it's either exactly what they're making or a small modification thereof. You know, Continental is supplying the engine control, body control, and doing the electrical engine integration. They're the world's largest electronic supplier. Bosch is doing the fuel injection. They're the second largest part supplier of any description. Aisin's doing the transmission. They're the largest manufacturer of transmissions. Guardian's doing the glass. They're the world's largest glass supplier. Takata's doing the airbags. They're the second largest airbag supplier. I can go on, but you probably don't want to hear the 34-name list. But you get the idea. It's the who's who of the global supply base. It's what they're already making. We know we can pull this off. The secret to the gas mileage is front-to-back seating, personalized transportation. Right, occasionally the rear seat's going to be occupied, but mainly this is personalized transportation. So at highway speeds, most of your fuel goes to moving air. And by sitting front to back instead of side by side, we double our mileage. There is no magic or flux capacitor required. So we know we can do this. We have done a crowdfunding campaign for about 2 years now. We've taken 41,000 reservations. So we are the second most successful crowdfunding campaign ever. I think that by dollars raised and by products sold, hands down the biggest, right? That's $280 million of product pre-sold. That's a big, $250 million. That's a big number. Folks want the product. 41,000 reservations, yes, and it's definitely escalated. So in year one, we took 5,000 reservations. In year two, we took like 33,000. So it wasn't a constant burn. That's really all I had prepared, and then I'll just open it up for questions. Yes?
Are you still seeking federal government funding?
So we have a loan application in with the ATVM for a guaranteed loan, yes.
Do you need that to move forward, or are you going to continue to rely on the funds that you're raising from individual buyers or some other sources?
Yes. So, well, when anything's as important to your success as funding, you have redundant plans. I mean, if we bet the whole company on any one plan, it would be foolish. So we literally have 3 or 4 separate plans that gets us all the way to the finish line. So ATVM being one of them. We're going to continue the crowdfunding. And we're democratizing the equity investment. So up till now, it's been tightly held. We have one very wealthy backer, and that's really how we've gotten here. The Jobs Act allows for general solicitation. It's a 506C. So last week we announced that we're doing a 506C, and now any accredited investor can invest in Elio Motors and share in our success. Like everything else we do, we're doing that a little differently. Most of the folks who are doing the equity crowdfunding are doing it on a website. You can certainly come to us on our website, but we engage Network One, which we're announcing tomorrow, an actual brokerage house, FINRA regulated, so you can call up and talk to a broker about investing in Elio securities. Because I think when you're talking that kind of money, you want to talk to a person, not just click a button. Thanks. Yes, regular gas, 87 octane. So no infrastructure required. There's enough gas stations, right? Horsepower, it's 55 horsepower at 55 and 55 foot-pounds of torque. On that note, about a month ago, we started the first Elio motor, which I think is a huge milestone. It's been over 60 years since a new American car company started its own engine. The engine was developed for us by a company called IAV. They have 65% of the engineering services business in Germany. They do all of the engine development for Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Bentley, Bugatti, and us. They did the Veyron engine. Ours is going to be as good, but not quite as fast. Yeah. Our manufacturing partner is Kamau. They're wholly owned by Fiat Chrysler. They participate in the manufacture of 1 out of every 3 vehicles on the planet. They just did the 3-cylinder line for Ford in Europe. They are supplying us with our 3-cylinder engine line. Day one, it'll be Kamau employees building Elio motors with the Elio employees watching. At some point, we'll flip-flop. And then at some point, we'll be comfortable enough and we'll wave to them and say, you guys can go home now.
They did the Fiat robotics come out, didn't they?
Yeah, so they do the automation solutions for Fiat Kamau, Fiat Chrysler, General Motors, Volkswagen, Jaguar, Land Rover, a whole bunch of them. Like I said, they participate in the manufacture of 1 out of every 3 vehicles on the plane. The automation solutions. So the automation in the factory, the welding, the engine line, all the automation solutions for us.
You already have the Platteville GM Shreveport plant, right?
That's correct. So Stu Lichter, our board member and significant shareholder, owns the real estate. He's America's 2nd largest industrial real estate owner, so that's his bailiwick, and there's a real skill set to running a site like that. The building is 4 million square foot. The Javits Center we're sitting in is 1.6 million, so it's 2.5 Javits Centers. It's a big 4 million, so it's 2.5 of these buildings. And it's floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall equipment. So Stu owns the building and he runs the site, and we lease the space from him. Elio Motors owns all the equipment inside. We have everything you could possibly imagine to build a vehicle with. It's a huge head start on getting to production. Yes?
You have Pep Boys doing the service. Now, how do you retail?
So we're going to do company-owned stores. So we'll be located in strip malls. So this is a destination purchase. We don't need to be on Auto Row. If you want a $7,000 car, you're going to come to us, right? So it'll have 1 vehicle inside, 2 outside, a standard and automatic to accommodate test drives. The walls will be lined with options. So that's part of how we hit the 6800 as an aside, is we're abandoning the package system. So it comes with power windows, power door locks, air conditioning, and stereo. That's it. Everything else is designed to be installed post-manufacture. So if you want the leather power seat instead of the cloth seat, well, guess what? Lear makes a bajillion of those. We can get that for you. If you want the blind spot detecting mirrors that I'm personally in love with, Continental makes those. We can get those for you. So you walk into our showroom anytime from when we open to when we close, say I want the orange automatic with the blind spot detecting mirrors and a leather seat. It goes to one of 7 to 10 marshaling centers. They add the content there. We close our stores at 9 p.m. We build out vehicles till midnight, so we have 3 hours to clear the system. At midnight, the vehicles go on trucks, and with a minimum of 7 marshaling centers, we're within 9 hours of all of our stores. So you get the vehicle exactly the way you wanted it the day before at 10 a.m., no matter what time you walked in.
9 hours. So you guys build a car in the first suspect in 9 hours?
No, we add the content. So we can swap out mirrors and put in a different seat in 9 hours. So the vehicle's already complete other than the optional content. Lighted vanity mirror. So that's the problem with the package system is in order to limit their number of inventory options, I get forced to buy thousands of dollars of stuff I don't want. I got a grudge against the vanity mirror, right? I've spent several $100s on those because half the population wants them because they put makeup on. I don't care. I don't want it. Don't charge me $40 for the lighted vanity mirror. But I want the leather seat, so I got to buy it, right? When you look around your car, literally thousands of dollars, right? So by doing it this way, and then to the Pep Boy question, so I got on the side. So that's how the buying experience happens. So for service, we've partnered with Pep Boys. So we have 800 authorized service locations day one. So we have a lot of infrastructure. The other, it gets us out of a lot of costs, so it helps us keep the sticker price low. And from Pep Boys' perspective, it does something pretty cool. So they are the biggest player in a shrinking industry, right? Every year, cars get better and better and harder to work on. So the service industry continues to contract. If you're already number one in that industry, how do you maintain sales, let alone gain sales? With the Elio partnerships, after 4 years of sales, we increased their vehicle touches by 15%. So they can grow their business with an Elio partnership, so it's good for them, it's good for us, and that's where good business happens, when both people walk away from the table going, wow, that was smart, right? Did I answer your question?
How long is this?
The wheelbase is 110 inches, and it's got a 67-inch track. So it's not a small vehicle. If you sit in it, it's a full-size vehicle cut in half plus 2 inches, right? So from the center line of your chest to the door is an extra inch on each side. So it looks small from the outside because it's half a vehicle, but when you sit in it, the experience is it's a big vehicle, right? Because it's sedan length and... I don't know that number off the top of my head. I know we took the normal distance to the door plus an inch, but I don't. Sorry about that.
Body composite or metal or?
So yeah, if you look at the simulations up there, we have a full roll cage. The occupant compartment is designed to not crush because the occupants are there, and it's made out of, so it's martensitic steel. Martensitic steel has an extraordinarily high yield stress. So mild steel has 200 megapascal, high strength 550, martensite like 11 to 1300. So it's twice as strong as high strength steel, 7 times as strong as mild steel. So you don't want that crushing. The front and back end are normal automotive grade steels for crushability to absorb energy. And then it's covered in SMC, sheet molded compound. 1,228 pounds. Yes. That's really not the next step. So the next step for the engine, we'll build 31 of them and put them on dynos and run them through their paces before it goes into a vehicle.
Some manual or automatic version you're talking about?
That is correct.
How many speeds on each?
5. So the automatic transmission will be an AMT, which is an automated manual transmission, right? It's a computer with some actuators to push in the clutch and shift gears. So it's the same base transmission in both. And actually you get better gas mileage in our automatic version than you do the standard version because the computer shifts perfectly and we humans don't. So, Eischen. So they're the world's largest transmission supplier.
Exporting in 2018?
That is the goal. My deepest hope is to build vehicles in Shreveport and to export them around the globe. And I think this product will be globally competitive. I think this price is globally competitive. I don't think there's any reason why we need to localize. We can build from this country and export. And that's my personal passion. For the last 20 years, every single month, we've had a negative trade deficit with the rest of the world, which means we bought more than we sold. We got poorer as a nation. You know, last April, we got poorer as a nation by $44 billion, you know, which is like Bill Gates' net worth in 1 month, you know, and it's clipping away. We have to build from this country. We have to export from this country, and this can do it. But first, we got to launch it here. So we have no export plans till it's launched here. So
there's no launch date quite yet.
Right.
You need to get to a certain financial threshold before you say we're moving forward.
No, we're moving forward. So we're targeting the first half of 2016. It's not a date. It's more of a range right now because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of moving parts in creating a new car company, and figuring out what the long lead item that's going to finalize that date is not trivial. So that's the range, though.
Can you talk to us about the marketing strategy and resources behind that once you are ready?
Yeah, no. No. So there's two areas I'm really weak on. Details about the engine and marketing. So I have a marketing wizard. Like I said, he's marshaled one of the most successful crowdfunding campaigns ever with almost no budget, right? So he's really good at that. But exactly where we're going. So the product, we're going to continue to do what we're doing. A lot of online presence, a lot of shows, that kind of thing. And then as we mature, I think we're going to have like a 2-year window where we don't know what the hell to do. I believe we will outsell the plant before we open up. We're capacitizing for 250,000 units a year. I believe we will take that many reservations. So you have the year sold, you have a marketing budget, and you have nothing to sell because so what do you do with that time span? Right, and that's why it's not an easy question. Like, you know, I know Tim's got some plans and we've talked about it, but I don't know an exact answer there.
Brilliantly answered my next question with your answers.
Okay, thank you.
Does the back seat fold to increase the load area?
Yes, so with the rear seat folded up, you can fit an airline compliant bag, and with the rear seat folded down, you can fit golf clubs or skis or other long items.
Access to the trunk.
Yes. Yes, top speed 107, 0 to 60 in 9.6 seconds. So that's why we developed our own engine. You know, first of all, when we started out, we couldn't get anybody to commit to this kind of capacity for a startup because they wouldn't believe us. But secondly, we could never hit these targets, right? When the big guys do a drivetrain, they're aiming at 6 platforms, and it's good for all and best for none. This engine is a point design. It's designed specifically to get 84 miles per gallon, a 0 to 60 in under 10 seconds, and over 100 miles per hour. That's what this is designed to do from day one, and we just relentlessly pursued it until we got it. Any other questions? Yes.
Due to the 3 wheels, are there states now that consider it a special utility or motorcycle or something like that, and require helmets or anything?
So it is a motorcycle, right? The federal government says if you have 3 wheels or less on the road, you're a motorcycle. So that's a motorcycle, although every single part on it's automotive origin. So when we started, there was a lot of states that required helmets and motorcycle licenses. So we've gone state by state with legislation that defines an autocycle. And an autocycle is a motorcycle that has 3 wheels, a full roll cage, at least 3 airbags, 2 seat belts, can pass crash, right? We have all these things to relegate what this is, and automotive controls. And 3, front and 2 side curtains. So if you're an autocycle, you don't need a helmet or a seatbelt, or a helmet or a motorcycle license. Because honestly, wearing a helmet in this vehicle is dangerous, right? If you are belted to a seat and you add extra mass above your neck, bad things happen, a la Dale Earnhardt. You are better off without a helmet with this configuration than with. And so AMVA, the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, has recommended the legislation that we've gotten successfully passed in, I think, 12 or 18 states. And we've been very successful so far, and I expect that to continue.
You have to have that before you can sell the car in the state, right?
No. So right now we can sell in any state because it's a motorcycle, and some of those states, all the helmet states we've won in if you're over 21. So you might have to go down and take a motorcycle test, but that's the worst case scenario at the moment. Like I said, so far we've been successful getting those laws passed, and we're working through the rest of the states. So I believe by the time we hit production, you will not need one. I got mad. So it was 2008. Oil was going through the roof. I had an engineering firm with 46-degree engineers doing new product development in automotive. And I'd watch the news every night and just get frustrated seeing all this wealth pour out of our country due to high oil prices. And one day I said, instead of getting mad about it, I'm going to go do something about it, and I kicked this project off. So. Thank you. Yeah.
Emissions compliance, motorcycle or automobile?
Automobile. So Johnson Matthey is doing the catalytic converter. They produce 1 out of every 3 catalytic converters ever made on this planet. But they have 0 volume on other planets.
What size of
We are targeting a new tire with Cooper. I believe it's going to be 135 millimeter front and 175 rear. So the Cooper tire partnership was critical to hitting 84 miles per gallon. With a standard width tire of 175 up front, it's a double penalty. You have to deflate it because we're so light to get the right tire patch, and that hurts your rolling resistance as well. And then because of the width and it's sitting out in the airstream, you lose mileage that way. So by going to a narrow tire designed for this vehicle, we'll pick up about 3 miles per gallon. So that partnership was critical. No. There's a lot of other mainstream vehicles that are coming without a spare. It's $100 for a spare by the time you do the jack and the cover and the nuts, and yep, inflator kit. I believe Ford Focus, there's a whole bunch of them that a spare is no longer standard. No, they do not. So it kind of looks like it because it's got the double A-arm front suspension. We did that for handling. So the 2 things we have to overperform on, I believe in, is safety and handling, right? Camry can be middle of the road safety, and it's going to sell because people trust Toyota, they trust Camry, they're not going to look that hard at it. This has to be over the top safe because it looks different. Same thing on handling. If you go buy a compact car, you don't think about how it handles because you didn't buy it for that reason, right? When you get in this because it's got 3 wheels, that's all you think about the first 5 minutes is how does this handle? It's got 3 wheels. So if we handle identically to the other small vehicles, we get judged harshly. So we have a double A-arm front suspension instead of McPherson strut, even though it's much more expensive because we had to overperform in that area.
You don't need like big beefy bumpers because it's an autocycle.
What do you mean big beefy bumpers? Well, so if you notice, there are bumpers front and rear under the fascia. We have fascia just like everybody else does. The front and the rear fascia should be about between $40 and $50 at Pep Boys. So, yes. Yes, so we decided that whether we did it or not, people were going to put child seats back there. So those are called ISOFIX wires, and they have very specific design and load criteria, and it's been designed to the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety steps for ISOFIX wires. Yes?
In regards to retail stores, I know Tesla's had a hard time with some states, and I know that like recently they got through New Jersey, but it's only been put through for alternative energy vehicles. Now, for getting your retail stores there, how are you? Do you have legislation, or how are you working with, or is it going to be a motorcycle retailer? What's the consideration there?
Yeah, so we are a motorcycle, so it's a different set of laws. But I think with the progress that Tesla's making, that we should be fairly successful. Honestly, politically, I think we play better than Tesla does. In our culture, I'm not saying it's right, but I do believe it's true. It's okay to not like rich people, but it's not okay to not like poor people. And a $100,000 car, people don't really care what happens to the sticker, one business model versus another. At $600 to $800, people do care. So I think that we play better when it comes to getting those things changed.
Well, you mentioned safety. My readers often bring up the outrigger front end and offset crash testing. Do you see any problems with that? Safety issues because you don't have the front suspension enclosed by metal?
No, it's a testing aberration, but it's not a real safety issue, right? Because if you hit a four-wheel vehicle, that stuff's there, right? You're still hitting it. But the test prescribes very exactly where the crab, if you wait for the side, where the crab's supposed to hit the door, right? And we can do it in simulation because we can give it infinite acceleration and get it to up the right speed. But if you're trying to hit the door at that point, at that angle, you hit this outrigger before you hit the door. So we can move it down, but then the test becomes harder to pass, which isn't fair. Hitting the outside wheel makes it trivial for us because it absorbs all the energy. That isn't fair. So we want to work with NHTSA to figure out, okay, what's a fair equivalent test so that this is, gives us the same numbers as a four-wheel vehicle tested similarly. But there's some oddities. Just it's a testing aberration rather than a true safety issue. 0.28 is our CDA. Right, so every quotes their coefficient of drag, but that doesn't matter. It's coefficient of drag times frontal area, right? And this whole project is about the frontal area, and right. So that's what I track. I don't know the CD by itself. I probably should, but I don't. Any other? Yes.
I got a whole see that consumer electronics show for some reason I don't know.
Yeah, we talked about that at the very beginning. Oh, yeah. Anybody else? All right, well, thank you very much for attending our first ever auto show press conference. Thanks.